Hello, it's Kyler with FollowHook. We're going to talk about touchpoints in this lesson. So what's a touchpoint? It's not specific to FollowHook. Touchpoint is an industry term for CRMs, and it means any interaction you have with a person. Whether you text them, email them, meet them for coffee, these are all touchpoints. So how are they used? Touchpoints can be used for historical data. Let's say you do meet for coffee and your customer talks about how their daughter just enrolled at a new university and she's playing for the soccer team, or she's trying out for the soccer team. You could record that in a touch point so that at a later date when you talk to them again, you can look at those meeting notes and remember, oh right, tryouts for the soccer team, I need to ask how that went. You're not being fake, you just deal with a lot of people, and people feel important when you remember details about them, when you remember what you talked about. And a lot of us don't have the bandwidth to remember every conversation. So touchpoints let you do that. So that's one purpose. Another purpose for touchpoints is automation, or to schedule reminders, or to create to-do lists, things like that. Some touchpoints FollowHook can automate for you, like sending an email. You can send just a very plain text email to somebody and just schedule that. And then you can also assign touchpoints to other team members if you're in that type of environment. As long as the team member has a WordPress account on your website, the touchpoint can be assigned to them. So let's dive in. Jumping over to Theater 11 Pictures website, sign into the admin, hover over FollowHook, and go to Touchpoints. So your screen should look like this, no touchpoints. Click Add New Touchpoint, and the first thing you want to do is name it. Naming is important, because as you can imagine with a fully functional CRM, you're going to have a lot of touchpoints. Some touchpoints are going to be for specific people. Some touchpoints are going to be assigned to campaigns, things like that for automation. So if this touchpoint is for a specific customer, I would consider using their name in the name for the touchpoint. So I'm going to make a touchpoint to remind myself to call Sandy. And then I'm going to put a hyphen, and then I'm going to identify the type of touchpoint it is. You can do this however you want, however it makes sense for you. But I recommend something like this. So for the type, I'm going to choose phone call. I'm going to leave it assigned to me, but this is where you could assign it to other people on your site. And then person, this is the customer, the person that this touchpoint is tied to. Okay, so here's where I choose the date. I need to call Sandy on the 22nd at 11 a.m. Now if this touchpoint is like a meeting or something that you want to start and end time, you can optionally put that in there as well. Let's say Sandy's a producer, and so I want to call her about a trailer we just cut. And I can put her phone number in here if it's different than the phone number that's in her person document within FollowHook. Maybe she's at a different number and I know that, etc. And then status, scheduled, there we go. Now if I click publish, it's going to give me an error message here, and it's not very descriptive. What it's saying is you didn't specify AM or PM. So all you have to do is click this field, change it to the time, and then publish again. So if I jump over to people, and then edit Sandy's person document, and go to touchpoints, there it is. It's scheduled, it's an upcoming. I can click on it to see what it's about. Then I can also go to today's touchpoints, and it would show up on the 22nd as a reminder for me to call her that day. We will probably add a reminder to your dashboard soon as well. Now, that was touchpoints in a very basic sense. Let's add another one. Let's do Sandy and email. Okay, so the difference when you change it to email for the type, it's going to ask for some more information down here. In the future, we're going to have this email address auto-populated from her person document, but right now you just need to plug it in manually. I'm going to change it to scheduled and click publish. So now if I go back to Sandy and look at touchpoints, I'm going to see this email that's scheduled as well. Right now FollowHook only offers very basic text emails. You can't insert images, and we're not allowing you to pull customer data yet. Very soon you'll be able to pull customer data. So what can you do now? Right now with the FollowHook Pro add-on, you can sync any FollowHook tag with ConvertKit or MailChimp, and you can access their email automation, which is really, really cool. And then you don't have to do double admin work, because MailChimp or ConvertKit and FollowHook will talk to each other and keep things in sync. So that's a really cool feature of Pro that you might want to check out. Another point about emails. When you're sending emails from your site, make sure your WordPress site can in fact send emails. I'm assuming you already have this set up, but sometimes that gets overlooked with websites. And a plugin that I recommend at this time is WP Mail SMTP by WP Forms. This allows you to use a lot of different providers, whether it's your SMTP credentials at your email provider or things like SendGrid, Mailgun, etc. So make sure your site can actually send emails, because if you can't, Followhook won't be able to send any information directly from your website to anyone. Great, so that's Touchpoints in a very basic sense. We went over naming conventions. I showed you just a general touchpoint, a phone call one, and an email one. You can experiment with them. Another thing we're going to do soon is also give you the option for recurring touchpoints. If it's something that has to be done on a weekly or monthly basis, you can schedule that and then not have to do it again. So hey, thanks for being a Followhook customer. If you're a pro user, you can ask any questions at support.followhook.com. And if you're not a pro user, you should check it out. Some really cool features, support, and training that I think you will love. But again, really appreciate you using Followhook. I will see you in another lesson soon.